Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, and welcome to WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, it is that time. The time for talking is over. It's time to get into the action.
So come on in, pull yourself up a ringside seat. Come on in to Lincoln Financial Field. Oh wait, we ain't there.
No, we ain't there. Our press passes are in the mail. We got to wait.
We didn't
for
get
them
there?
to get here. Yeah, once they get here, we take off on the next flight out. But damn, they slacking on the sending here.
I know, man. We ain't got that many days.
I'm saying, I guess if they overnight it, if they get it here today, we take out. Well, we got to get out of here Thursday because we got to get to Hall of Fame.
We got to get to the Hall of Fame. I got to see Paul get inducted.
There you go.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening in to today's show. Our topic for today these ain't spoilers. These are predictions.
Yeah, we ain't trying to ruin nobody's WrestleMania. I mean, the card is shaping up to be pretty fun. So obviously, we don't have any inside information. So it's going to be our best guess. But we're going to see how many things pan out like they're supposed to and how many things we're just so far off on that it's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I know we differ on at least one match.
Oh, yeah.
We at least differ on one match. But let's go ahead and break into the card, man. And what a card. Good God.
Yeah, we're stacked.
There's matches on these cards.
As we were reading through I'm like, damn, we're going minimum 4 hours both nights. And that don't have nothing to do with any scrums or any aftermath stuff. This is gonna be a long ass weekend, so I hope everybody's settled in. I hope you got your popcorn ready, get your dinner ordered early, because hell, if you include stand and deliver from NXT, Saturday's a wash. I mean, that starts at noon.
So everything is actually kicking off at 5 p.m. Friday evening.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you really want to get in depth to it there, then yeah, I mean, you can cancel out Friday too.
Yep.
Because with SmackDown, Hall of Fame starting, it's a wash after that. Till Monday morning, where we all got to get our asses back up and go back to work. Ugh.
And then it's the Monday after Mania.
Yeah, that's going to be hectic. I mean, that's going to be crazy. There's going to be some kind of excitement on
absolutely.
there. So
absolutely. All right, so let's break it down. We're going to start off with night one. Let's start it off with let's start it off with a barn burner, but we're going to talk about Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio.
Yep, that's happening.
That's happening.
Yep, I guess. I mean, a good way to get the guys on there. The LWO would get their, they'll all probably get the show. Santos's group would get the show. So, it gets everybody some airtime on WrestleMania, so why not?
Yeah, I believe this is where you're going to see whatever's happening between Dominic and Andrade. You're going to see that payoff in this match. We'll see which side Andrade kind of falls on.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, and then that'll give them some legs to build on going forward for Andrade. It's time to get him involved in something. I mean, being Charlotte's boy toy ain't going to last forever, so you got to get out there and do some work.
Yeah, but that ain't a bad gig, though.
Well, she's rehabbing now. So right now, he's probably like a homemade crutch and go-getter and gopher and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure he's ready to get her back on the road, get to moving out here.
Get going, mommy.
Absolutely.
All right, the next match on the card. Well, we don't know the order, but we're just going in the order that we got here. Talk about Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill versus Damage Control.
Yep. So
again, that's happening.
Yep. I mean, we had about a week build to it.
Yep.
So, and not weak as in soft, but weak as in time. But I mean, almost weak as in soft too. Good way to get Jade out there. I mean, Jade's getting the pin, right?
Yeah, I think Jade's going to get the pin, but also I think it's a good way to get her out there, a good way to showcase her. But I also think this is also their setup point for the first feud they're going to put her in.
Okay.
I really see her potentially. I don't see her as a babyface. I don't think that's going to fit her. I think she's going to wind up pulling the heel card, and I could see her turning on Naomi and Bianca. I could also see Naomi being that first real feud that she goes into, and then that pays off with Bianca later.
That would be worthwhile because I don't think she needs to work Bianca coming right out of Mania. That's more like your SummerSlam type setup. If you're, depending on where they're positioning her for next year, if you think by next year she'll be a title talent, then okay, yeah, you can work her with Naomi, work her with Bianca, maybe even work her with, some of the Damage Control girls. All honesty, I see Jade going over. I see her going over on Dakota Kai, keep the champ strong.
Right.
Since we're not getting a title defense, I mean, why? But okay.
Yep. So not really a lot to talk about. No meat on the bone in that match. Just we all know that match is really for Jade.
Yep. It's totally her showcase.
Yep. Next match, talk about the 6-pack ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions of the World. Oh,
good Lord.
I slipped into a road dog there for a minute.
Absolutely, yeah. I thought you were going there. I'm like, well, we've gone there before, so we visit there again. But, I mean, as far as predictions, I think I told you the other day when they mentioned all 4 belts are going to be hanging up there.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they find a way to, you got 6 teams. If they could finagle a way for 2 different teams to yank 2 different belts down at the same time. So, that might be a good way to get the SmackDown and Raw titles separated.
According to what Michael Cole said on Raw, as soon as one set of straps gets pulled down, the match continues.
Right. Until all 4 belts are down. That's what I'm saying. That sounds like a pretty good way to separate the belt. Pretty damn creative, you got to admit.
I like that.
We've been complaining about, this unified tag title situation and on the same show. All 4 belts, and they unified every other belt, but they never really did do anything with this one. And yeah, we've been complaining about it all damn year. But if this is the payoff that they came up with, where they got 4 titles up there and you literally could have 2 teams walk away as 2 separate champions, great. So amazing. I'll take it.
Our participants in that match are Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Awesome Truth, which is Miz and R-Truth.
They're coming away with some of them belts, right?
Yep.
Definitely got to.
We also got DIY. We got New Day. We got New Catch Republic and A-Town Down Under. So here are my prediction for that match. My prediction for that match is you're going to get Awesome Truth walking away with the Raw belts, and you're going to get New Day walking away with the SmackDown belts.
New Day are Raw tag teams right now. I was actually thinking A-Town Down Under. So I'm thinking, they've just buried Austin Theory. I mean, 2 years ago at WrestleMania, he was in the ring with Stone Cold Steve Austin, for Christ's sake. Now he's in a 6-pack challenge in a tag team that's funky at best. They're really the only SmackDown team that's, doing anything on SmackDown. I feel like they would be the best direction to go as far as, where to direct those blue titles.
I'm pulling for New Day in this match for a selfish reason, though. I'm hoping that we get a spot where Big E shows up, puts Xavier on his shoulders, and walks him up the ladder and gets him.
Hell, ain't nobody getting on Big E's shoulders no more. Hell, Big E might be able to throw him up there, but if he sits on Big E's neck, you might as well just hang Big E out to dry.
Speaking of throwing, go back and watch NXT.
I haven't watched this week's NXT yet. I got to check that out soon.
Did you see Obafemi?
This week?
Yes.
I haven't seen anything this week.
Oh my God. He just wrecked. He, what's his name? The Gary or whatever his name is. I can't remember his name now.
No.
But anyhow, he threw the dude halfway across the ring.
Oh, wow.
So you want to talk about somebody throwing somebody? Obafemi.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, I had some late catching up to do on Raw. I was doing a little snoozing towards the end of Raw, but I mean, it was so good I had to go back and watch it to make sure I caught it.
I'm calling for Awesome Truth and New Day. Who are you calling for?
Awesome Truth and A-Town Down Under.
A-Town Down Under, okay. All right, now we're going to move on to the brothers match, but importantly, the twins match.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy versus Jay.
Oh, I thought you meant the Bellas. Nikki and Brie. When you said the twins, I'm like, well, that makes sense. I'm sure a lot of brothers would fight over them. So I figured that's where we were going. My bad. Mine was wandering there a little bit, but I'm back on.
It's not a bad avenue to wander down.
No, not at all. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the Bellas, get in a little oil, and we haven't had a
PG.
We haven't had a chocolate pudding match in how many years?
PG show here, Frank. PG.
True. But PG. I mean, so you saw what Rhea did a couple weeks ago with Nia Jax, and apparently
I think the world saw what Rhea did.
Yeah, Becky got real bent out of shape, said, she fought so hard to get us past that state. We don't have to get past that state. Now you can have a little bit of both in there.
Exactly. All right, so who do we think is going to wind up here? This one's a tough one to call.
It is, but as far as singles go, I mean, I feel like Jay's got way more upside than Jimmy as far as singles go, right?
Right.
I think Jimmy's going to be riding with the bloodline deal for a long time, one way or the other. You know, not because he couldn't be a single star, it's just not his character, right? Like Jay, they've built main event Jey Uso. You know, he's got his fan following. I feel like he would be the way to go in getting this over, but it kind of depends on how the rest of the bloodline stuff plays out, because you can't have all bloodline wins on night one and then all of them lose on night two. And so you're going to have to mix it up in there somewhere. I just don't think Jay's going to be the sacrificial lamb in that.
My heart says Jay, but my mind says Jimmy. Because of bloodline interference. It's hard to not think about them interfering in a match, because that's their MO. That's how they always do.
Yeah, I mean,
not to mention, we've said this for I don't know how many shows now, but all of them members on that tree that some of them are just, free agents right now. We don't know who's going to show up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of excitement that could be built around that whole storyline this weekend.
So, you calling for Jay, I'm calling for Jimmy. Is that what we call him?
Yep.
Okay. We're going to move on to the Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Sami Zayn.
Yep.
So, Sammy, I'm sorry, brother.
Nope.
I don't think you're going to do
it. Nope. Hell no. We're on the same page on this one, because nope. I mean, we're doing the Rocky montage, and we're doing, we're all in. We're all invested. We're going all Philly here. Nope. In all honesty, for business reasons, Gunther should lose it to Sammy, because Gunther's ready to elevate to that next level. He's definitely ready to wrestle whoever comes out of whatever title match as title holder. He's ready to get into that program. I'd actually see it happen more on the Raw after Mania than I would see it happen at Mania, to be honest.
So if they are holding true to the Rocky storyline, if they really are doing this, of course, Sammy is playing the character of Rocky.
Yeah.
You got Chad Gable playing Mickey.
Yep.
And basically Gunther is playing Drago. I mean, that's kind of where he's fitting, right? So essentially Monday night was the spot where Drago killed Apollo Creed, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was Monday night's spot. So if they hold true to the Rocky storyline, Rock should prevail.
You would think.
You would think. Because Sammy's going to, as Rocky, Sammy should prevail. You would think.
Yeah. But I mean, Rocky didn't always win in every match either. So it just depends on what Rocky they're living in. We think it's 4, obviously, because Gunther's foreign, and that just fits. But this could be 1. I mean,
so I have a better way to lay this match out.
Okay.
So I do think Gunther prevails at WrestleMania.
Okay.
Our next pay-per-view is Payback, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So to build to Payback, instead of Gunther versus Sammy at WrestleMania, which we are getting, Gunther's going to go over, but Payback becomes Gunther versus Sammy versus Gable in a triple threat in which Gable is finally going to win the belt.
I could see that, but I could see him going over Sammy, so that way they kind of protect Gunther in it. He don't have to take the fall.
Right.
And then you still keep, the storyline moving with the title. Because, I mean, let's be honest. By SummerSlam, Gunther should be wrestling for somebody's title.
Gunther's ready to be elevated.
Yeah, I know. We'll get to who wins what as far as the title matches go. But Gunther's definitely the next challenger for somebody, if not the next person to dethrone a champion.
Yep.
So just depends on how you spread it out.
All right, let's move on to the Women's World Championship match. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, got to go with mommy.
Yep.
Got to go with mommy.
Yeah. So in Triple H world of booking, I mean, he ain't flip-flopping titles around. He likes the long game with his champions, right? And Rhea will just be hitting a year. Matter of fact, as we're recording, I think she's just hitting a year like right now. So it could be time for her to drop, but I think there's going to be some titles moving this weekend, and I don't think we're moving every title, right? So we'll get to the Bayley Io Sky match later, but just as a prelude, I think that title's flipping, right?
I do too.
So I don't think both women's titles are going to flip at the same event. So by default, I say Rhea.
Yeah, I think Rhea she's only got more to go. I don't think
worlds more to go. She's what, 26?
Yeah, I don't think her championship run is done yet. As far as Becky, people are saying, well, what if if Becky don't win, where do they go with Becky from here? Becky's Teflon.
Yeah,
Becky's character is going to be okay.
Anywhere. There's 100 different stories for her to go. I mean, the alternative, though, if Becky, if Rhea wins, where does she go? All of it's up in the air at this point, right? So there is no, point in saying, hey, everything's going to be contingent on where we go next, because we honestly don't know where it's going to go next. We're having a hard enough time getting through this. And damn, if we're going to start trying to figure out May, June, and July.
Yeah. I do think it's going to be a hard match. I do think it's going to be a violent match.
Oh, yeah. They're both going to show out. They're going to
tear the house down.
They're going to put out. It's going to, just for what we've seen over the last couple weeks, with the MMA house and in the ring and backstage, they're brawling, they're all over the place. So yeah, it's going to be heavy hitting. It's going to be hard, hard, fast paced, hard hitting. But yeah, all in all, I feel like Becky's that next level that Rhea needs to get over to cement her legacy.
Right.
And I feel like that's what happens in Mania.
All right. And then we also got the biggest match of night one, tag match between Rock and Roman and Cody and Seth.
Yep.
And here is where I think we're going to be on the same page.
Probably, because I don't think we will advertise Bloodline rules and then not have Bloodline rules, right?
Correct.
That would be, if they do it, again, creative as hell, right? They'll have swerved everybody. It's a great way to piss a bunch of people off. If they did that, then I could actually paint a much better picture to get to the night 2 match if they didn't go Bloodline rules. But I don't think we're going to tease that and then not have it.
So me and you are on the same page on this. We do think Rock Roman's going to go over on this one. They're going to get the win. It's going to be Bloodline rules for night 2. But I did see Cody's interview on Ariel Helwani's show today, and he did say something that kind of made me stop and think for a minute. He talked about how, does he hope that it is a straight up match on night 2? He said, yeah. He said, but he also thinks there's a little part of Roman that wants it to be a straight up match on night 2 as well, because he feels like he still has something to prove.
Maybe, but Roman's never had a straight up match. Roman is
the whole title run is not built around
Roman in the Bloodline
matches.
is Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen, right? He's not going to have a straight up head one-on-one, no outside interference. He's not going to have that match. That's just not a Roman staple,
right?
Because they're modeled in the mold of the Four Horsemen. That's not a thing.
The Bloodline is the Four Horsemen. It's the Godfather. It's the Italian mob boss.
And in none of those do you see the main character ever go one-on-one.
Right.
That's just not a thing.
And if they do, they're already on their deathbed.
Right. Yeah. It's the end of the show.
Yeah.
So
it's the end. Yeah.
If we end up having a straight up one-on-one match, no Bloodline rules, there's still some swerves and some twists and turns that could happen in there. So
absolutely.
That would make for probably more interesting storytelling, just because everybody and their brothers predicted it's going to be Bloodline rules, but we're probably not going to advertise that and then not pay off on it, just if no other reason, because having Bloodline rules is a guaranteed way to get The Rock out there on night 2.
Yeah.
You're not going to miss that opportunity.
And it's also a guaranteed way to get other surprises out there.
Yep.
And we're going to build to this, obviously, here in a minute. But, everybody is kind of looking forward to this Avengers scenario, so to speak. But, yeah, it's a way to get everybody out there.
Yeah.
So I will say this. Probably night 1 is going to be amazing within itself. I don't want to look past night 1. But night 2, your 2 big championships for the men's side are going to be defended. So I'm not going to lie. I'm looking forward to night 2 more than I am night 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Short of the tag match, I'm give or take on what happens on night 1 because of my excitement for night 2. There's so much built up, so many different twists and turns. It's time to see what pays off in that night. So yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so let's tear into night 2 here. We're gonna kick it off. Well, yeah, here we go again. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament.
Yep, that's happening.
Gonna happen.
So because we found out just 2 days ago.
Yeah,
or from when we're recording. That match was announced this week. So.
I just want them to go on and give Lashley and the Street Profits a name. Just go.
They're calling them the Pride.
They
got a name. They're the Pride.
They got no graphic. They got no T-shirts. They got no merch.
They just got packaged into a Mania match on Monday. They'll have it all by Saturday. Give them a week.
Even Karrion Kross has a name by now.
Well, yeah, because they have Paul Ellering.
Yeah,
he's going to make a name. I think Lashley and Street Profits. So they're a bunch of lions. They're the Pride Alliance. Is that what we're dealing with here?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe, but I mean,
Lashley's a lion. Yeah, I'll give you that.
And see, that's the thing.
What about them other two?
That's the thing.
Lions?
That's where it doesn't make sense for me.
I mean, what the hell is this empire? At this point now, anybody can be a lion just by birth. I don't know about all that.
Here's the thing: if you know anything about animals and how they run in packs, pack of lions, you only have one male. There is not three males in a pride. You have one male in the pride.
Right, and otherwise you're wandering into like Simba and Mufasa territory, and that's,
And I'm sorry,
we don't need a Scar in this.
And I don't think the Street Profits will hold kindly to being called lionesses.
I mean, so are they the hyenas that go with Scar? Is Lashley Scar? Maybe I don't know.
How did we get Disney off?
God only knows. But I mean, how did we get this match? I mean, hell, same way, right?
The light touches.
They've been bumping heads for a few months,
a long time. This should be over by now.
Yeah, I mean, it should be over, or we should have known about this match 3 weeks ago, right? Because we've been building to it forever. Then it seems like they're like, well, we're not gonna have time for it, so Lashley just gets scrapped again. He got scrapped last year in what turned out to be a way worse scenario than we ever could imagine.
I don't know what it is with Lashley. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know how he wound up in the world title picture. And then all of a sudden, he just falls off.
No clue. He had a good title run. Then he got in that scuffle with Brock Lesnar. Everybody said, well, that's world title equivalent. That's fair. Yep. He came out ahead on that. He ended up winning that series. 2-1. He won against Brock Lesnar. And it's been all downhill ever since. Last year he was supposed to line up with Bray Wyatt in WrestleMania, which would have been a good showcase for him, but he would have lost.
Yeah.
And now he's like the head of a group and he barely wrestles. I mean, hell, he's like the B-story Roman. Because like he leads the group, he never wrestles.
Oh God, that's true.
Yeah, but I mean, he's like the B level. He's like the B level,
the
Roman.
B-side Roman.
Right? That's not good. I mean, hell, that's not better. But that's what he is. He's like, I mean, he dresses up. He's well dressed. He's like Cody dress. He's like the Cody appearance with the Roman, wrestling schedule. What the hell? What are we doing right now? What's happening here? All right, move on.
Move on. Let's go.
Holy hell!
All right, we're gonna get into LA Knight versus AJ Styles, which this is my pick. Oh, wait a minute. We didn't pick a winner for the last match. Who you got?
Fuck. The Final Testament. Why not?
All right, I'll go with that. I'll rock with that.
Oh, yeah, why?
Because, I mean, Lashley and his group's been losing.
Yeah, I mean, AOP's only been back for a month. I think they haven't won a match yet. Karrion Kross ain't won a match in 3 years, but at least he's on the card. I mean, thank God we'll get Scarlett there. That's a win.
That's a win.
So, yeah, I'll pick them to win because, I mean, either way, he's winning at the end.
He's winning in life.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and give him this W. Why not?
All right, we'll move on to LA Knight versus AJ Styles, which is my pick for the show stealer.
Yeah, that should be a banger. That should be a banger and a half.
This should be a good one, but this is also, for those who know, this is a TNA battle.
So the last one is too, right? I was just thinking about that when you brought this match up, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Lashley and Killer Cross were over at TNA banging heads, and so hell, this is gonna be like a little TNA
resurgence.
Yeah, I mean, somewhere or another, Jeff Jarrett's rolling over in his TNA grave, like, yes, they appreciate me.
We got him to Mania.
Exactly, we got him to Mania. I'm not there, but he's like Moses. He got them to the promised land, and he got sent. Well, we won't get into that.
All right, so LA Knight, AJ Styles. Match stealer of the night. I'm going with LA Knight.
Yeah, it's his time.
It's his time.
AJ's on the back end. He's on the tail end of his career right now. LA Knight's same damn age, so it ain't like he's at the precipice or anything. But I mean, he's still got more climbing to do. He hadn't got to the mountaintop. AJ's been there. AJ's done what he came to WWE to do. Now he's just enjoying the twilight of his career.
Right.
LA Knight still got something to prove, so he's got to get over this hump so they can position him into whatever else he's going into. Hopefully like a Logan Paul type thing, maybe at SummerSlam.
That's where I'm heading.
That's what we thought was going to happen at Mania until they kind of took this divvy point. So my thinking is, they have them two guys get at it because we still got to get that promo battle. I mean, there's a lot of money involved.
Yep.
When you got LA Knight standing across from Logan Paul and them two just working the mic, there's money there.
Prime versus Slim Jim.
Absolutely. There's money there. I mean, You can get them on the show. You can do, kind of what they've been doing now. Get them on Logan Paul's show. They can have a little scuffle there. There's so many different ways to go with those two guys. That's interesting.
That leads us into the next match, the U.S. belt for triple threat for Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens.
I think we just kind of hinted to who we think's going to win that
Logan
match,
Paul's coming out.
Yeah, I don't see him losing his first Mania title defense. I mean,
no, and I don't see him losing it because it's a triple threat.
Yeah.
And they wanted to figure out
some way to protect him.
Right. They wanted to figure out how they could protect him, but they also wanted to figure out, like, okay, obviously we don't want him to put somebody over, like, clean. I mean,
right.
I really think this is going to be a Randy KO. Somebody's going to sabotage somebody else.
Yeah, and then there'll be some brass knucks involved. And
yep.
Somebody would probably KO will probably take the punch and do the lay down, and Randy will just slither into the ring just a second too late because he's a Viper.
In which this is going to build a program for KO and Randy.
Yep.
So,
definitely. They're definitely heading for that.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, absolutely, because that gives two great workers something to get them through the summer with, and then that would move LA Knight and Logan Paul. That would leave them potential.
Yep.
Or if you want to angle it a different way, you could factor AJ in there for a little bit, and work up to that match at SummerSlam.
Right.
There's a lot of different angles you could go on it. So, yeah, it makes for interesting TV.
Then we're getting into the WWE Women's Championship, Io Sky versus Bayley.
And I already told you how I think that's happening.
Bayley's getting it.
Bayley's got to get her moment now. I mean, she's the only horsewoman that hadn't gotten that moment to stand tall at WrestleMania with the title. It got to be her. She's got to go ahead and get over it. Take that W.
I think they owe her because she was the women's pandemic champion.
Yep.
She carried the women's era through the pandemic, and I really think they're going to let that pay out.
Yeah, she was like the original Bayley 2 belts, wasn't she? I think she was the first one to have the tag titles while she was women's champ.
Yep. So
she started this whole 2 belt thing, and since fans came back, they kind of moved on. She got injured at like the worst time ever. And, then Becky got so hot, and then Bianca graduated up, and hell, that's a slippery slope to be on that end. And she was partnering around with Sasha for a while.
Yep.
And so, I mean, yeah, it's her turn. It's definitely her turn.
So now we're going to go into the 2 big belts. We got the World Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, with the addition of CM Punk on commentary.
Yep.
How do we think this is going to play out?
So I don't see Seth walking away with that title. I think it's time for him to let that belt go. I think it's time to get moved the title away from him. He's had a plethora of injuries going on. The one that he's freshly coming off of, other nagging injuries that have been hanging around. I mean, for the better part of almost a year. He went into the title reign with them saying he was hurt. So, he hadn't had a good time to heal. He's been out the last couple months, but I mean, hell, he's got nagging injuries a year old. He needs more than a month to, right? He needs to be away, be at home, not have to come in and do angles on TV, just completely rest and, and recharge the batteries. And I think it's time.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think Drew's going to take the belt. I do think it's going to be an entertaining match.
Yeah.
I also think commentary is probably going to be very entertaining.
Oh, absolutely. The commentary would probably be better than the match, solely because we've seen the match 3 times in this title reign already. So, I mean, there's not going to be a lot to, surprise us with. But, yeah, Punk's going to be money on that.
I do see some potential also for a spare headset to probably be at the desk where, maybe at several different points of the match, maybe Drew picks up the headset, commentates a little bit,
that would be
talks
fun.
Smack with Punk, and then Seth will talk smack.
I thought you were saying that was over there because maybe Senior Money in the Bank would wander itself out there for that match.
I was going to mention that. You beat me to the punch. There is that element that is hanging around of him in this briefcase.
Yep. So I don't see him cashing it in at Mania. I do see him teasing it, but we've already done the whole cash in at Mania, and it was Seth that did it. So It's not really going to work to do it the reverse way, for one. And for two, I think it's about time for Judgment Day as a whole to kind of move on to different things.
Go separate ways.
Yeah, I mean, we're already spawning Dom off into his own thing with the Legado del Fantasma. So, he's getting his own angle. Andrade's getting involved. Rhea's way bigger than the group at this point now. I mean, she can stand on her own by far at this point.
I'm ready to see Finn get back in singles action.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things Finn can do, and Damian with that briefcase. I mean, at some point he's either gonna cash it and win, which makes him the title. He don't need a group to be that champion, or he's going to cash it and not win.
And I think that's going to be the case.
So I do too, not at Mania. But
I don't think he's going to have a successful cash.
No, I don't think he's going to end up being the cash in where he wins. I think that'll kind of be the catalyst to break the group up, though, because they're really on people's case about not winning. And
the only thing I could see him cashing in on is maybe the Intercontinental belt.
Maybe depending on what they do in that angle, or I mean, he could do it with the NXT title. I mean, there's a lot of different ways.
Wasn't it Charlotte that went after the NXT title at one point?
She did it with a Royal Rumble win.
Okay,
yeah, she did a Royal Rumble win and went after the NXT title against Rhea, I think.
So yeah, I think we all see Drew taking this match. Seth, you've had a good run, but it's time for some fresh blood with that title.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this on the show before, but Seth's the guy that you always want to see with the title, but damn, the minute he wins it, you can't wait to see him lose it. It's like, God.
I think all of us...
Immediately, he must lose this title. He has to get away from it, but we wanted him to have it so damn bad.
I think all of us are just wanting a change in his character.
So he teased that at Raw. If you noticed last night on Raw with the whole backstage, interaction with Drew right before his match, he came out, he kind of, he chorus led for a little bit, but it wasn't all that goofy dancing and all that, all that bogus Joker stuff. He kind of went out there and just did his thing.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be a great match. I think they're going to have a really good interaction together, but I also feel like CM Punk is just going to have some crazy commentary going on.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get somewhat physical.
I think he will.
How they could do it.
Chair shot, kendo sticks.
Without him, jacking up his arm or anything like that. But I don't see him just being out there and nothing happening, because there's so much money on either feud with, Punk and Drew or Punk and Seth. A lot of money to be made on both of those angles. So.
And it's time for the main event.
We're there. So
Roman versus Cody
versus a whole shitload of other people that are going to be involved in that.
So I'm with the opinion of a lot of people that are riding with this one. I am with the opinion. I just want to see some crazy shit go down in this match.
Oh my God. I mean, they first of all, they need to start it at around 10, right? Because we need at least an hour for this whole thing to play out if they're doing it as big as we think.
This needs to be, if you've watched AEW, this needs to be...
You're not. I mean, we already know you're... Well, you may be watching it on TV. You're damn straight there.
You ain't going.
Right. You're not in attendance because nobody is, so...
This needs to be the stadium stampede, like just all-out brawl. So, obviously, if it's the Bloodline rules, we know that, it's not going to be one-on-one. You're going to have...
Hell, it's not going to be 5-on-5. I mean, this is going to be a nightmare.
You're going to have the Bloodline everywhere. So who is Cody going to have on his side? Obviously, it might be Seth if he ain't beat down from the previous match. Jay might be out there. You could also have, it's been kind of teased, Cena and Stone Cold might be making an appearance.
I mean, that was an obvious tease. Again, some Easter eggs are like, they're just sitting in the middle of the grass. Some are hidden well. Some are literally just sitting there on the table when you walk in the room like, you forgot to hide that one, huh? So
yeah, and I don't know if y'all been following Stone Cold's Instagram, but somebody left him a basket of beer on the porch.
Nice.
Just out of nowhere.
Something to keep cold for. There you go. Well, pack it up and ship it on out to Philly. I mean, why not?
But yeah, so we think this is going to be a crazy, crazy ass match. But then again, as we've came to blows, sir, we differ on this match.
Yeah.
I am Team Cody. You are Team Roman.
Yep.
Who you riding with?
I'm sticking with my gun. I'm sticking to my guns on this one. I in no way, shape, or form am I backing down. I don't see it. I think before the match is over, I think we're going to see hologram Dusty fight hologram Yokozuna. I think hologram Umaga's going to come out there and get into it.
Yes.
I mean, I see Tugboat coming out there at some point. Uncle Frank, they call. I see his ass coming out there. I feel like Dustin's going to be out there under a hood. I mean,
Flair will get out there.
Good Lord. Yeah, this is going to be a nightmare of all ages. Like, we're gonna see so much stuff that we've never anticipated. My goodness, it's gonna be a barn burner. Let's just put it like that.
So obviously, you rolling with Team Roman. I'm rolling with Team Cody. I want to see Cody finish his story. You want to see Roman dominate as he's been doing for the past 3,000 years.
Book. I mean, bro, this is a book we're writing here. You just want to see a story. That's a couple pages, right? We're writing a book here. We're only in the fifth inning.
Look at you. You got your lines written down on your hand there, too.
Absolutely. We're only in the fifth inning right here. So I'm just letting you know. This is the story that you're trying to finish, but this is the book that we're trying to write.
So as our show goes, we've all known, if you've been listening at any point in time, you know which sides we're rolling with. This is going to be the match that will have our interest the most on the card because we both have extreme fandoms towards one guy or the other in this match. But I will say, handshake, sir. May the best man win.
Absolutely.
May the best man win.
Definitely. I got to admit, I mean, if Cody wins and they tell a great story to get us there, I won't be mad.
Yeah, it's going to be a good match.
It ain't like I'll be throwing stuff. I won't be LaGreca ranting and all that. I won't immediately fire up the podcast. And, we
emergency download.
Right.
Emergency download.
You see us dropping 12 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, going into Monday. It won't be nothing like that. If Cody wins and they tell a great story behind it, I'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
Same thing. If Roman wins and they tell a crazy story with it, you got any predictions? You got any way you think it might play itself out?
I think it's going to play out with Cody winning, but I also think if Roman wins, I think it plays out. I think Cody's storyline in all of this is going to just fade to the back. I think you might see Cody fade to the back himself. You might see just a withdrawal of Cody, period. Kind of like, I don't know how else to say this because I've thought about it. I don't really want to see it, but I've thought about how it could play out and how it would be interesting for the fans to see. Sting went from the Surfer Sting to the Crow Sting, right? He completely flipped gimmicks, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what if Cody does lose? What if Roman wins? Cody just goes away for a while.
I think we hinted at this last week. If I had my druthers with it, if I was to lay it out, right? If I just a quick layout of it, if I was to lay it out, I'd have Cody and Seth win night one, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't have a Bloodline Rules match. Then I would have some kind of outside interference, but on Cody's behalf. Like, let's say Mama Rhodes slaps Roman or something like that, and the referee calls for a disqualification.
Right.
Fans, the Philly fans.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about riot?
Unglued.
Yeah, that whole building would explode.
Yep.
But what would also explode is the next night on TV and every consecutive night on TV. Because I mean, that's some good ass storytelling right there.
Yeah.
If you have. Let's say, I know there's been a lot of talk about we got to get Dustin in there some way or another. If he's under a mask, he's got to get in there. What if he was on loan this week? What if he found his way on loan and he ended up costing Cody the match? I mean, that would create a whole new character for Cody where he's like, I got screwed by not the Bloodlines family, but my own family.
Yeah.
They could take that. So now the problem with it is there's no legs to build it on because Dustin ain't staying.
Right.
But just for that moment, I mean,
there's a lot of different ways that it could be going, but going back to what I was talking about before, if Roman goes over, Cody goes away, and then maybe 6 months down, because the thing is right now is everybody's like, well, what happens if Cody doesn't win? Are you really going to string this out for a third WrestleMania? Like, are the fans really going to buy into? After
seeing Roman's bio last week, I feel like as soon as that Hogan record's done, then they can immediately get it off Roman. But I do feel like that is because, after seeing it, as much as we talked about, and I think I told you, Roman did his bio kind of like Michael Jordan did The Last Dance, right? So if you remember when Michael walked away, how'd he walk away?
He walked away like a boss.
Yeah, he walked away like a champion.
Yeah.
Because he took his last shot. You saw that hand still up there.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, he had a trophy in his hands, right? So because Roman did his bio kind of in the same way, we've already established Roman's going away after after Mania. Win, lose, or draw, I feel like he's going to take a little hiatus. So.
I also want to say that Roman, the way that you displayed your championship in that bio, I fully approve of that, sir. Because,
I'm sure.
Because I also have your championship displayed in that way, sir.
With the
Ulafala,
right? With the same, because Roman's the best champion that you've ever seen. I mean, you know it, so you might as well just crown him and let him be the longest reigning champion of the modern era.
Look, I may not be the fan of Roman like you are, but I respect the tribal chief.
There you go.
But
that bio, though, I mean, just for 1 minute. To have a murderer's row of Hall of Famers to come out there and basically crown him as the man. Holy hell!
The term you used right there, that was perfect.
Murderer's row.
Yeah,
I mean that's what you had.
He had the seven of the top stars.
You had these 7 faces of the company over the last 40 years. I mean, even Ric Flair was in it. You had the face of the other company, the competition, the face of the NWA and all the faces of WWE, and they all christened this man the guy.
Yeah.
Holy hell. I mean, 5 years ago, he was nowhere near getting in it. 5 years ago, all them same 7 guys would have came out there and said, this ain't the guy, send him home.
I will say this. Even if Roman loses Sunday night, he still is the guy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. At this
Cody,
point,
no disrespect, but this man has put in the work.
Yeah. Even when he's not working, which is crazy.
Correct.
The fact that he's not out there every day, but the fact that he isn't out there every day is what's making him special. It's what's making him an attraction. Because, back in the day, and everybody always talks about, well, Hogan had 700 title defenses, and Roman's had 55 or whatever the numbers are. Fact of the matter is, you only saw Hogan have like 3 or 4 defenses a year.
Right.
All those other 200 defenses he had every year were at home. You're right. They were at home. Yeah. So if you didn't buy a ticket or if you weren't in that market, you didn't see Hogan wrestle.
Trust me, the business back in the day was built on house shows. It wasn't
Absolutely.
TV.
And that's where all the money was.
Yeah.
Because pay-per-views, you were running, when Hogan was running 2 a year. Right? Well, they didn't start SummerSlam until after Hogan wasn't champion anymore. So when Hogan ran, they had WrestleMania once a year and 1 Survivor Series. That was it. So as far as me saying I saw Hulk Hogan wrestle, I saw him wrestle once a year while he was the champion, and that was at WrestleMania. And hell, one of them wasn't even for the title. That was a tag team match at WrestleMania 1. So as far as I personally know, Hogan wrestled about 7 times during his 4 years of being champion.
Right.
So when you look at the way the business is now, it's different. But giving Roman that title of saying, he's the longest reigning champion of the modern era, I mean, that's a Triple H thing, right? He's done it with the IC title. Yep. He's done it with the tag titles. He's done it with the women's title. He's done it everywhere else. I don't think he would pull Roman's plug, 3 or 4 months short. I think he's 300, no, he's like 140 days short or something like. Are you really going to pull the plug at this point for it?
I will say this. If Cody doesn't win the belt Sunday night, it will probably be the biggest controversial decision that Triple H has made so far.
Yeah,
as a
absolutely.
Booker.
What it will.
But who says it's Triple H's decision?
Well, I mean, hey, at this point, you really don't know. So.
And on that, we will leave you hanging.
All right. Next time we talk to you guys, we'll be doing a WrestleMania recap, so we'll all know what happened.
We'll all know what happened.
My God, can you imagine what we'll be talking about in a week?
Yeah, we'll be talking about the American Nightmare as the champion is what we're going to be talking about.
Probably not, but we'll be talking about him, that's for sure.
That's for sure. All right, everybody, we thank you for listening to today's episode. We appreciate it. Drop us a line on our social media platforms. Let us know your thoughts. Watch WrestleMania. Have a great, fantastic time. And again, what a great time to be a wrestling fan.
Definitely. So,
and with that,
we give you the Vince McMahon goodbye. Welcome to WrestleMania.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also, connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X.